Everyone looks at the chart and sees a token bleeding out. But what if I told you that you are looking at this completely wrong? You're analyzing a crypto asset, but the smart money is analyzing a global talent acquisition network. While retail investors are panic selling because we lost a trend line, something critical is happening behind the scenes. We are seeing 70-year-old industrial agriculture companies using this network to sort millions of tons of fruit. We are seeing quantum processors coming online. The price is at support. The fundamentals are screaming expansion, but the chart structure just broke down. Is this the ultimate bear trap before 2026, or are we about to flush down to $130? I'm making a massive decision with my position today, and I'm going to show you exactly why. Welcome back to Crypto Yield Pro. We need to have a serious conversation about Bittensor. Right now, TAO is trading around $210. If you have been watching the channel, you know we have been tracking this level like hawks. Sentiment? It's fearful. We are seeing people capitulate after months of a slow grind downward. But here's the reality check. We are currently sitting on a major support zone, that white dotted line on my chart, that is held up multiple times throughout 2024 and 2025. However, price action has been heavy. We are below the 10, 21, and 55 weekly moving averages. That is objective weakness. I closed my short-term trade recently. I broke that down in the December 13th video because the momentum shifted. But my long-term bag? That's a different story. This is the moment where the market tries to shake you out right before the narrative shifts. But there is something in the on-chain data and the real-world adoption that suggests the market is mispricing this asset heavily. Let's put the chart aside for a second and look at what you are actually buying at $200. First, look at the utility. Usually, crypto utility is just buzzwords. But look at this. We have news that Two-A-Day Group, one of Africa's largest fruit producers, founded back in 1948, is using Bittensor-powered Vision AI. They are processing 7.2 million export cartons annually. This is not a demo. This is industrial agriculture at scale, using TAO to detect defects in real time. This is the difference between a speculative coin and a real-world asset. Then we have the quantum leap. Just days ago, it was announced that you can now inference quantum processors on Bittensor. This breaks a massive barrier, making quantum hardware accessible without heavy setups. As AI becomes foundational to the global economy, TAO is positioning itself not just as an AI coin, but as the infrastructure layer for the next computing revolution. Now, connect that with the supply mechanics. Grayscale recently released a report highlighting the inaugural halving. We are seeing a 50% cut in new issuance. The daily emissions dropped from 7,200 down to 3,600. Think about basic economics. You have supply getting cut in half. You have demand expanding into real-world agriculture and quantum computing. And yet, the price is down. This is a dislocation, and the whales know it. Data from LunaCrush shows TAO seeing $150 million in whale inflows recently. They are not accumulating randomly. They are positioning before the move. Plus, the staking ratio is massive. 76% of the supply is staked. That means the circulating supply available to be dumped is much thinner than people realize. Now, let's get into the weeds on the weekly chart. This is where we separate emotion from data. If you look at the screen, you can see we have been trading inside this parallel descending channel, marked by those orange dotted lines, ever since that top at $750 back in December 2024. Here is the bad news, and I want to be transparent about this. We recently lost that ascending trend line, the red dotted one, that was forming a symmetrical triangle. When you lose a structure like that, the probability of a visit to the lower boundary of the channel increases significantly. Right now, we are fighting to hold the $210 support. This level is critical. If we lose this weekly close below $210, there is very little structural support until we hit the bottom of the channel. My downside targets in that scenario are clear. I'm looking at $165 and the absolute bottom of the channel around $130. Those red circles on the chart mark these zones. However, look at the Heikin-Ashi RSI at the bottom of the screen. We are getting deeply oversold. It's pointing downward, yes, but historically, when we get this compressed on the weekly time frame, a bounce becomes a matter of when, not if. Also, look at the volume profile on the left. The point of control, that is the price level with the most traded volume, is sitting up at $390. Price has a memory. If we get a reversal, that $390 level is going to act like a magnet. We also have a descending trend line from the October rejection that aligns with the 618 Fibonacci level around $520. That is your major line in the sand for a bullish reversal. Until we break $520, we are technically still in a downtrend on the macro. So the setup is simple. We are at support, but the trend is down. The indicators are oversold, but momentum is bearish. This is not a place to go all in with leverage. This is a place to execute a plan. So what am I doing with my own money? As I mentioned to my Telegram community earlier today, I have already closed my short-term trade to protect capital. But for my long-term hold, I'm looking at this as a prime accumulation opportunity. I'm activating my load zone, that is the green box on the chart. This zone stretches from $240 down to $130. I'm dollar cost averaging into this weakness. Why? Because I'm a position trader. I buy low on high timeframes. Buying when the RSI is oversold at support has statistically been a winning strategy for this asset. My stop loss is set at $110. That is the red dashed line. Why 110? Because if we close a weekly candle below that level, we have broken the entire descending channel structure to the downside. That would show extreme weakness and invalidate the thesis. If that happens, I'm out of the trade to preserve capital. Now, let's talk targets. If we hold here and rotate back up, I'm not selling for a 10% gain. I'm looking for the big moves. My first take profit target is $500. That is near the channel resistance. My second target is $750, the previous high. Third target is $1,100, which is the 1618 Fibonacci extension. And my moonbag target is $1,700. As we hit these targets, I'll be using a trailing stop. If we hit target 1, my stop loss moves to my entry. If we hit target 2, my stop moves to target 1. This guarantees that I lock in profit and never let a winning trade turn into a loser. But remember, TAO does not live in a vacuum. We are really waiting on the Bitcoin call. Is Bitcoin going to hold $80,000 or break through $90,000? That is going to dictate the general market direction. I explained my full Bitcoin strategy 2 days ago in a separate video, so make sure you watch that after this one to understand the macro context. Let's synthesize this. The bear case. Bitcoin loses $80,000, the market panics, and TAO flushes down to the bottom of the channel at $130. That is why we DCA, so we have dry powder to buy that blood. The bull case. The halving supply shock kicks in, the quantum and real-world utility narratives catch fire, and we reclaim the $300 level. If we get back above $300, which is the 236 Fibonacci level, this entire bearish structure is invalidated, and we are off to the races. This is an asymmetric bet. The downside risk is defined, stop loss at $110. The upside potential to $1,700 is massive. That is the kind of risk-to-reward ratio I look for as a trader. To wrap this up, Bittensor is acting like a talent acquisition network for the machine intelligence age. But the price is currently being suppressed by technical weakness. I'm betting that the fundamentals will eventually drag the price back up, but I'm respecting the trend, doing my DCA slowly and keeping a strict stop loss. If you got value from this breakdown, smash that like button and subscribe. It really helps the algorithm find other data-driven TAO investors like us. And listen, these markets move fast. By the time you watch this, we might have already wicked down or bounced. If you want my real-time updates, my entry alerts, and to see exactly when I'm buying or selling, join my free Telegram community. I post there every single day. The link is right there in the pinned comment, along with my DeFi ebook if you want to master the basics. I've also covered Chainlink recently with a similar setup. Click the video on your screen to see that breakdown, along with my last Bittensor analysis. Thanks for watching, never financial advice, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next one.